What if I told you Ford once tried to sell a car powered by uranium? Or that they built a pickup truck so fancy you'd be scared to breathe near the bedliner? We all know Ford for the icons of the Mustang, the F-150, the Model T, but hidden in their vaults are vehicles so bizarre, so hilariously impractical, they feel more like dares than designs. Today we're counting down the top 10 weirdest cars Ford ever made. And trust me, it gets so strange you'll start to wonder if someone spiked the coffee in Dearborn. Number 10, Ford Corrida, the origami Fiesta that nobody asked for. In 1976, Ford's Italian design partner Ghia looked at the humble Fiesta and thought, you know what this economy car really needs? Gullwing doors. Not just any gullwing doors, these were double-folding, pneumatically powered contraptions that made opening the car feel like performing a magic trick. The Ford Corrida was bright traffic cone orange with black accents, giving it the look of an angry insect, or maybe a prop from a low-budget sci-fi flick. The wheels were tiny, tucked embarrassingly under the car like someone forgot to order the right size. Aerodynamics? Maybe. Fashion statement? Absolutely not. Inside, the dashboard looked like a stack of matte black shoeboxes glued together. Ghia called it compartmentalized design. Everyone else called it a design crime. The whole car was a strange cocktail of futurism and failure, and while it never made it into production, its weird double-hinged doors might have inspired Tesla's Falcon Wing system decades later. So if your Tesla doors ever trap you in a parking lot, thank the Corrida. 9. Ford Indigo, the supercar that needed a helmet. The Ford Indigo, launched in 1996, looked like something you'd see on the final lap of the Indy 500, not parked outside a CVS. It was Ford's idea of a futuristic street-legal race car, without the legal part fully figured out. This thing had no roof, no windshield, no doors, just a carbon fiber tub, scissor doors, and the aerodynamics of a razor blade. And the engine, oh, just two Taurus V6s fused together into a fire-breathing V12. That Frankenstein monster cranked out 435 horsepower and launched the Indigo from 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. The interior was straight from a Formula One fever dream. Carbon seats, LCD screen, button-based gear shifting, and zero comfort. No cup holders, no airbags, no windshield wipers. If a bug hit your face at speed, you'd need dental surgery. Ford considered building a few hundred a year for wealthy daredevils. Thankfully, only 2 were made, one for shows and one that actually moved. The Indigo later became a star in Need for Speed, where it was much safer to drive because crashing didn't involve hospital bills. 8. Lincoln Blackwood, the luxury truck that was afraid of dirt. The Lincoln Blackwood was Ford's attempt to blend luxury and utility, but they forgot the utility part. Launched in 2002, this $52,000 truck had no four-wheel drive, no tailgate, and a truck bed lined with carpet and real wood. Yes, carpet in a truck bed. It was less of a cargo space and more of a rolling display case, complete with LED accent lighting and a power tonneau cover that opened like a clamshell at an art gallery. You couldn't haul anything dirty, you couldn't toss in firewood, heck, you'd cry if your groceries tipped over. Oh, and it only came in black. All of them. If you wanted to spend nearly $90,000, adjusted for inflation, on a one-color, non-functional pickup, this was your moment. They sold 3,356 of them before pulling the plug less than a year later, making it one of the fastest discontinued Lincolns ever. The lesson? If you're building a truck, maybe don't make the bed allergic to scratches. 7. Ford Big Red, the jet truck that wanted to melt the highway. In 1964, Ford got into the trucking game and decided to strap a jet engine to a semi-truck, because why not? Meet Big Red, a 96-foot-long turbine-powered monster designed to revolutionize long-haul transportation. Powered by a gas turbine engine that spun at 30,000 RPM, Big Red could run on gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, maybe even tequila. The cab wasn't just big, it was luxurious. We're talking air suspension, a full kitchen, a TV, a bathroom, and a sleeping area nicer than some New York apartments. The exhaust was so hot it could melt aluminum, the intake could suck in birds. Seriously, Ford had to install special wildlife-proof grills. Ford spent millions showcasing Big Red across the country. Trucking companies were impressed, accountants were horrified. Fuel efficiency? Terrible. Maintenance cost? Nightmarish. Fire hazard? Constant. After a brief tour, Big Red disappeared, until it was rediscovered and restored in 2021. Yes, it still runs. Yes, it still sounds like a fighter jet. No, it's still not practical. 6. Ford Probe, the Mustang assassin that failed. In 1989, Ford almost replaced the Mustang with a front-wheel drive Mazda-based coupe, and they called it the Probe. Yeah, They really thought that name would fly. Mustang fans went nuclear, showroom protests, angry letters, and literal tears from loyalists forced Ford to backpedal. Instead of Mustang 2.0, it became the standalone Probe, and it never lived down the scandal. It looked like a melted jelly bean. The headlights popped up, the curves were unsettling, it felt less like a muscle car and more like something a dentist would drive. Sure, the GT model had a turbocharged engine, but it was still front-wheel drive and couldn't do a proper burnout. You could chirp the tires, if you begged. Ford kept the Probe alive for 8 years. Today you can find one for the price of a microwave. And yes, it's still awkward to say you drive one. Number 5. Ford X100, the 1950s tech demo on wheels. To celebrate its 50th anniversary in 1953, Ford built the X100, a concept car with more switches, buttons, and wires than an early space shuttle. It had 50 experimental features, including heated seats, power windows, dual radio controls, an automatic roof that closed in the rain, and a glove box electric shaver. Because what's more futuristic than shaving while merging? The car had 8 miles of wiring, 92 switches, and 44 vacuum tubes, enough to overheat your garage just by looking at it. It also came with built-in hydraulic jacks. Push a button and the car would lift itself up for a tire change. The steering wheel looked like a spaceship control panel, and the horn had adjustable volume, which, honestly, is a feature we still want. Ford toured it worldwide, then retired it to the Henry Ford Museum, where it sits today, likely still confused about whether it's a car or an over-engineered science experiment. 4. Ford Tempo. On paper, the 1984 Ford Tempo was meant to be revolutionary, the most aerodynamic car in America. In reality, it looked like a melted bar of soap and drove like a haunted washing machine. The 2.3-liter engine made 86 horsepower. It idled so violently passengers assumed something was broken. It wasn't. That's just how it ran. Ford bragged about the high swirl combustion engine, which dealers tried to steer customers away from. The all-wheel drive option? A disaster. The transfer case fell off mid-drive. Ford's official fix? Wire it in place. No, really, like with wire. Inside, the dash felt like garbage can plastic. The seats were wrapped in mouse fur fabric that disintegrated when touched, and the rear windows didn't roll down. They popped out 3 inches to save costs. Ford sold millions of these mediocrities. The Tempo became the car of choice for people who needed a vehicle, but didn't care what it was. 3. Ford Mustang II, the legend that got lost in the shrink cycle. After the gas crisis of the 70s, Ford needed a smaller, more efficient Mustang. So they slapped the badge on a Pinto chassis, gave it a weak engine, and called it the Mustang II. It looked like a knockoff. The styling was there, just all wrong, like a celebrity impersonator you hire on Craigslist. The base model had 88 horsepower, the V8 made 139, my blender might be able to take it in a drag race. But weirdly, people bought it. 1.1 million sold. Gas was expensive, expectations were low, and the badge still said Mustang. Even Lee Iacocca, the original Mustang mastermind, called it one of his greatest achievements, which is like Spielberg saying The Terminal was better than Jurassic Park. 2. Ford Gyron. The Ford Gyron, unveiled in 1961, had 2 wheels, like a motorcycle, but fully enclosed, and balanced using, wait for it, gyroscopes. The idea was that the gyros would keep the car upright while driving. Problem, they didn't actually install them. Instead, they welded training wheels to keep the prototype from tipping over like a drunk Segway. It had no steering wheel, but just a central dial to steer. The cockpit was so narrow you'd be sitting shoulder to shoulder, basically spooning your passenger. Ford claimed this was the future. The public disagreed. The Gyron was destroyed in a fire in 1962, which felt oddly appropriate. Decades later, someone actually built one using modern tech. It works, technically, but unless you enjoy balancing your car like a unicycle, you're probably fine with 4 wheels. Number 1, Ford Nucleon, the radioactive family sedan. And here it is, the weirdest car Ford ever made, the 1958 Ford Nucleon, a car powered by nuclear fission. Yes, actual uranium in your trunk. Ford imagined a world where instead of gas stations, you'd pull up to a nuclear filling station, swap out your reactor core, and go another 5,000 miles. The passenger cabin was pushed far forward, basically sitting on the front axle, to distance people from the glowing death machine in the rear. Safety! It was supposed to work like a submarine, using steam from the reactor to drive turbines. Only they never made a working version, just a 3/8 scale model they toured around like it was the next Model T. Today it lives in the Henry Ford Museum looking like something out of Fallout, and inspiring generations to ask, what were they thinking?